I have a large collection of arcade games. I wonder how much money it would cost me to complete all of them if it was a real arcade. Only one way to find out. Hurricane Alley. The Devil's Triangle. Names people use to address the infamous Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle has been the home of many mysteries. Many aircraft and ships have disappeared under strange circumstances. Some say that UFOs have abducted these poor souls. Others claim that the technology left over from Atlantis has sunk the ships down to the depths below. But the truth is, it's all just stories. Truth is that a lot of aircraft and ships pass through the Bermuda Triangle on a regular basis. Regardless of that though, the Bermuda Triangle has been inspiration for a lot of horror-based media. Of course, among that media is video games. Whereas the traditional usage of the Bermuda Triangle is to create a paranormal mystery of some kind. SNK went against the narrative norm and decided to make a game based on the Bermuda Triangle, where you slaughter dinosaurs with weapons of mass destruction in 1930 while flying a biplane. The logical choice, obviously. Strangely enough, there are quite a few games that follow the scrolling shooter genre. The one we're going to look at today, however, is SNK's Prehistoric Isle 1930. Silly as a premise as it sounds, it makes for a decent game. It's a Japanese shooter, so that means there's going to be weird monsters, over-the-top weapons, creative level design, and shit flying everywhere, all of which can be experienced by 2 players. At the start of the game, you get the plot explained to you. The US government has sent an expedition to the Bermuda Triangle in order to discover what has been making ships and planes disappear. While searching, they discover an island and send 2 recon planes to investigate. That's you. The levels are referred to as inquiries. Inquiry 1 takes place on Green Hell Island, where you encounter the first of the island's inhabitants. Looks quiet at first, but you'll see that the screen quickly builds up into being chock-a-block full of anything and everything. To avoid and defeat it all, you're going to need to learn the controls. You can use the stick to move around and use one button to shoot, but you'll have a second button which serves a unique feature. As you fight through the levels, you'll see pickups that drop from enemies or eggs. You'll either receive points, a speed buff, or a weapon known as the Option. A rather unique weapon which function changes based on the location on your plane. Pressing the second button allows you to rotate the Option clockwise, each position offering a different firing mode. At 12 and 6 o'clock, it shoots waves of fire that will reflect on the surface back at you, but not harm you. 2 and 10 o'clock fire a grenade in a 45-degree arc. 3 o'clock powers up your machine gun and turns it into a fireball launcher. 4 and 8 o'clock allow you to drop bombs, and 9 o'clock lays air mines. Confusing, but helpful weaponry. Once you memorise its functions, you will find yourself adapting to the many battle scenarios you will have to face, which will be changing constantly. Learn them quick though, because you don't have a health bar. One single hit, and you're dead. You do have 2 extra lives per credit, but you can imagine that they don't last very long if you're not paying attention. Halfway through the level you'll encounter a boss. Plot twist though, it's just the first boss of the level. Some of the stages feature 2 bosses that you need to fight. Every boss requires a different approach to defeat. Some are as easy as blasting, while others require a shot in specific places and sometimes at certain times in order to hurt them. First up, the Brachiosaurus. Its 2 main attacks are to bite you out of the air, and scientifically accurately, attack by spitting fireballs at you. The Flintstones would have been a hell of a different show if the dinosaurs were like this. To beat it, you have to shoot it in the head until it explodes. So that's why we never find whole dinosaur fossils, they all explode on death. Next up is the Allosaurus, one of the easiest bosses in the game. Stay in the bottom left corner while shooting it anywhere and dodging its fireballs. When it charges, fly above it and drop bombs on it. If you can avoid its wide jump attack, head back to the corner where you start this process all over again. Keep doing it until it explodes into tiny meaty chunks. Now at this point, the smart thing to do would be to turn around, go back to the cargo plane and say, "Yo, fucking dinosaurs on the island bro, let's get some backup." Then backup arrives. Instead, we move on to Inquiry 2. Now we're taking to the skies. I like the music in this stage. Music in this game feels like it has that epicness to it. Not epic as in epic, but atmospheric epic. It helps create the feel that a fast and relentless dogfight is happening and you're leading the charge. As long as you don't mind the pew-pews and sounds of death. To some of you, that may be music to your ears. It is to mine. Short level this one, finished it in under a minute. Fight a few pterodactyls, bats carrying cavemen, and giant... Fuck if I know what this is. Then along comes the boss. The
Rhamphorhynchus.
Time for another scientific fact. Did you know that
Rhamphorhynchus
could flap its wings so hard it could shoot lethal airwaves and make mini tornadoes strong enough to fuck up the flight patterns of a biplane? No, neither did I. You need to shoot it... somewhere? I'm not sure where. Even looking at it frame by frame, I can't tell what it is I'm hitting exactly. In all honesty, I think it just has a brief invincibility period before you can hurt it again. This boss is more about being evasive than it is offensive. Inquiry 3, we're heading back to ground level, fighting in a gorge with fossils of exploded dinosaurs in it. It's also the first time we encounter aquatic enemies. Enemy variety is plentiful in this game. In each level you'll encounter familiar enemies, but new ones will always be being introduced, each one acting differently, meaning it's more important than ever to master the option gun. Most have cool and freaky looking designs, and the game feels fresh all the way through. You've got your standard shooter enemies that fly in a pattern, ones that spawn smaller versions of themselves to launch at you, the cavemen that jump to hump your plane and drag you to the ground, ones that attack by stretching, the undead? Point is, there's lots of crazy enemies to fight, and they are merciless. Arguably though, the bosses are the strangest looking creatures in the game, and there's always a moment where you see them and go, what the fuck is that? So this unknown dinosaur is a boss, which also breathes fire and can spit it out its tail. Not that hard though, he floats up and down protecting his weak point, which are the warts on his head, by lifting them off screen. Eventually he comes back down and you can shoot them. Another boss where you should avoid more than shoot. The second boss of this level is the ancient Coloptera. Easier to say than
Rhamphorhynchus.
I think this one may be the easiest boss actually. It can't attack upwards, so staying above it and dropping bombs on it kills it quickly, and then you move on to the... Oh god, never mind! Alright, no biggie, just 4 of them now, firing waves of fireballs. We'll just shoot them all in. Oh shit, even smaller? And now chasing us? Fuck's sake! Okay, that was a boss that made me panic a bit. But we got it, and now we're moving on to the... bottom of the sea? We're flying biplanes, they don't work underwater. Wow. 1930s biplanes were high tech. So our planes have the ability to turn into submarines and slaughter sea life. There's a pickup you can find here that makes the option gun fire rings in any direction. They will bounce off surfaces and they are extremely powerful, though they did make my eyes go a bit funny. The rest of the game is easy on the eyes though. The graphics are nice, not amazing, but the backgrounds are pleasant to look at and the animations on the planes banking and the option are very smooth. Enemy animations are simple though, not in a bad way. They do look a little stiff, but still they haven't been half-arsed. Let's be real though, would you put a lot of effort into a sprite knowing it's not going to be on screen for very long? Can't say that about the boss though, the Archelon. I wonder if this is a turtle that can shoot fireballs underwater. No, it's going to rapidly give birth and send its babies after us. Jesus, that's dark. Why'd they have to make him so cute too? God, I miss Cadillacs and dinosaurs where I was saving dinosaurs rather than needlessly killing them. The only other attack it has is to slowly drift into you. Good luck trying to avoid all this though. These baby turtles are resilient little buggers, and they keep getting in the way of the mum's face so you have to keep shooting them to shoot her. Stressful as a boss as this is, keep fighting and you'll get her. Which is just pretty much the basic advice for all bosses, just keep fighting and you'll do it. Just don't expect to live for very long. I'll be honest, I had this playing in my head while we were playing this level. After you defeat the first boss, you travel through a ship graveyard. It looks cool and eerie, plus it fits in with the story. Don't admire it for too long though, because all the murder fishies will be back, and in greater numbers. Not only that, but the areas in this part are claustrophobic as shit. In fact, in a few of the levels you'll find several instances where you have to fight in tight spaces. Sometimes it can feel too cramped and you often get trapped between a hard place, another hard place, and instant death. It can, and does, feel frustrating when you can't shoot your way out and just die. But it's the nature of arcade games. Screwing you over to screw your finances over. Surviving that, you have to avoid the attacks of 3 Brachiosaurus stuck in a sinking ship. How the fuck are 3 of these things fitting in there? Then we reach the bottom of the sea where it's time for a Pokemon battle. A wild Ammonite has appeared, and it's pissed. And quite cute. Its 3 main attacks are spitting water at you, shooting bullets, and reaching out to grab you where it proceeds to nom you. Unloading into its face is the only way to damage it, and it doesn't help that it can move quite fast, so you'll often get caught trying to avoid its attacks. Come on. Come on. Almost. Now, throw the Pokeball! Oh, damn. I didn't know Ammonites knew self-destruct. Quarry 5, we're on the home stretch now. This level takes place underground. Even at this point, new enemies are appearing. Not only that, but the game is now throwing everything it has at you to try and stop you. You'll experience things you've seen in other levels and some new things. Waves of enemies, cramped tunnels, flying vertically, lava that shoots homing trails of fire? What? And 2 difficult bosses. First one you meet is the Stegosaurus. Like the second boss of the game, it can charge and jump to hit you if you fly high, but when it does, an arc of stones flies out to try and hit you. Then, when it lands, stalactites will drop from the ceiling. You're not safe anywhere in this fight. The best you can hope for is that you happen to be in a spot where you won't get hit. On the plus side, you can hit this dinosaur anywhere to hurt it though. Not the hardest boss though. The final boss is the hardest boss in the entire game. At a height of 426 feet and a weight of 200 tons, give it up for the one, the only Tyrannosaurus Rex? But T-Rexes weren't that tall and... you know what? Never mind. Screw science. Look at this smug prick, staring down his nose at us. As you can see, he's fucking huge, so he takes up most of the screen, leaving you with even less room to maneuver. He'll constantly hop backward and forward trying to hit you, at the same time firing spinning fireballs of death and breathing streams of fire. If you stop for a second, you're dead. To try and hurt him runs a risk too. Once his mouth opens, he's vulnerable and you can hurt him by blasting it. But he only opens his mouth to attack, and there's no build up to his attacks, and you're immediately in the firing line when you go to hurt him. Strafing while spray and praying is your best option here. When you do defeat it though, it pulls a face that to me looks like it's having an internal monologue about being content with death. So, this is what death feels like. Strange, I always expected death's touch to be painful. Yet her cold embrace feels welcoming and desired. Like all my pain is finally slipping away. Embrace me, Lady Death. I only go with one regret. I never learned how to say.
Rampharinkus.
With the T-Rex defeated and all of Green Hell Isle's inhabitants wiped out along with any chance to study the biggest scientific discovery of a lifetime, we make our escape off the island. We head back to the cargo plane and prepare to head home, ready to reveal to the world what we've seen. Or not. So the Bermuda Triangle remains unsafe for sea and air travel, and the world may never know its secrets. Fuck you, game. God damn it, what an unsatisfying ending. After all that, the game just says, well, sorry, it was all for nothing. If you're wondering, no, this isn't the bad ending. This is the only ending. Well, maybe when I cover the sequel I can get some satisfaction. In short, Prehistoric Isle is a game that you would have to play multiple times in order to beat it legitimately. Learning and memorizing the levels means that you'll have a distinct advantage, but even if you're playing for the first time, this is an enjoyable game. Fast, frantic, fun, and has the right level of challenge to it. I'd recommend this one. Anyone from casual gamer to shooter veteran will have a home here. And that was Prehistoric Isle. Thanks for watching everyone. Join me next time where we see what it'd be like if Jason Voorhees was a monster slayer.